So what happened? Last night, I was very tired. I didn't get a chance to do my review. I came home, went straight to sleep. I saw Star Wars: The Last Jedi at an advanced showing on Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. So you know why I was tired when I got out of there. I had to drop my nephew off, and then I had to come all the way back home. But I really enjoyed this film. Now, I'm not going to give away too many spoilers. I will probably be spoiling some things just when I talk about characters. But I would have to say Rian Johnson, the director, did a fantastic job with this movie. He brought in a lot of unexpected new things for the series. And I think it might rub some people the wrong way. It's unexpected, so it is going to be a surprise. And people are going to be talking about this film for years. They really are. But at the same time, I think a lot of us hardcore fans would have been okay if he didn't do some things a certain way and did it in a way that we would have probably expected or probably wanted it to go. We would have been okay with that. But I'm okay with him doing new stuff because you have to give new stuff. You cannot keep giving people what they expect all the time. It's not going to work out good. I mean, some of us might like to think that, but really, you got to do some new stuff. If you don't, nobody's going to make any new things, never going to see new things, never going to take any chances. And it's going to get stale. But okay, with that out the way, overall, I like the film. I will give my rating of the film at the end of this review. Let me just run down the characters. The movie starts with Poe and is out of space, and he's trying to face the First Order with his ship alone. And he's setting up for a suicide mission for some bombers to come in to try to take out the First Order. And it's an intense scene. It really is. It's heartfelt. It's like a suicide mission almost. But Poe's, he's funny. He's just like he was in The Force Awakens, but just more of him in this. And he's funny. He's confident in his flight abilities because he's the best pilot in the Resistance. And they show you that in this. He do things in this X-Wing that we've never seen in Star Wars before. So it's pretty cool. I like Poe. I really do. I'm glad Oscar Isaac talked J.J. Abrams into extending his role. Because in The Force Awakens, he was supposed to die after saving Finn and himself from the First Order when they crashed on Jakku in X-Wing. I mean, the TIE Fighter. He was supposed to die then, and he was just like, oh man, I was kind of hoping I'm in a Star Wars movie, I'll last to the end. And J.J. Abrams changed that, so I'm glad they did that because Oscar Isaac is fantastic. Now, in this film, they tend to group a lot of people together. It's usually groups of twos until the end, really. But a lot of people spend time with another character. Poe spent most of his time with Leia, almost the whole entire film. And they kind of bump heads because Leia has a plan. But Poe's like, we got to take action. And Leia's like, we have a plan. We have to make sure everybody's safe. And speaking on Leia, Carrie Fisher died. She passed away this year. So people was wondering how much of the film she finished filming and if they were going to kill her off in this movie or if she was going to be able to really give the performance that we would like to see from her. Well, I'm here to tell you she's in the film a lot. She has a lot to do. And you really get to see Leia being a general in this. So you really get to see the general side of her. And I like that a lot. And she's strong. She's caring. And it's really cool. It's really cool. Her performance was great. It's one of the best from Carrie Fisher. But I think all her performance in all three of the original Star Wars films was great. I think she did great in all of them. So this just adds to it. But Leia and Poe, they were teamed up a lot. Finn awakes early in the film. So it's right away. So I'm glad we didn't have to wait halfway through the film. As soon as he wakes up, you know, Poe is like, you must have 1,000 questions. And his only question is, where's Rey? Last thing he remembers is fighting Kylo Ren, trying to save himself and Rey. And he's knocked out. He's hurt. He's injured. So that's the first thing he wanted to know. This time, he's not trying to run away from the Resistance. He's like, I'm here to fight. I was trained to fight these people. And he really wants to save and protect Rey. So he spends a lot of his time trying to find a way to keep her safe because she went to go find Luke Skywalker. But Rey meets this girl named Rose, who is by this new up-and-coming actor named Kelly Marie Tran. I believe that's her name. And Rose is funny. She's cute. Great companion for Finn. And a love interest, too. When they first meet, great. Them two, Finn and Rose, go off on their own to do something, to find somebody. That was a little... It was one of the low points of the film. It wasn't my favorite part of the film. I couldn't wait till they get back to other action sequences or just other characters. But when they return and get back with the Resistance and they try to take on the First Order, great again. It's just when they went off and did their own thing, it was one of the low points of the film. It wasn't one of my favorite moments. But it was some stuff there to set up some things later on for the film. But I really like Kelly Marie Tran as Rose. I really like the character Rose. Now, Rey and Luke, they were teamed up. They were grouped together. Of course, you know that. If you've seen it in The Force Awakens. But everything with them, the dynamic, them bouncing off of each other, the acting and stuff. I have to say this is some of Mark Hamill's best acting. I heard that in some non-spoiler reviews. And I have to agree. There's so much more to Luke at this point. He's so much more layered. So much he went through. But he's a broken man. And Rey is trying to get him to help out, to take out the First Order, or to at least train her so she can do it. And it's cool, some of the things they do in this. And Luke, I have to say, I like this version of Luke. I really did. I really like this version of Luke Skywalker. And Rey, I think Daisy did good as Rey in this. She's very, you know, I would say stand up. She's a very stand up person in this. She believes in something and she sticks to it. There's not a lot of doubt in her. She just wants to get things resolved and done. And there's some growth in her character, and that's great. It really is. It's the same type of growth you've seen with Luke from A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back. But a lot of people were saying A New Hope, that's basically what The Force Awakens was, and there was a lot of similarities. The Last Jedi is by no means a rehash of Empire Strikes Back. There's a lot of similarities in here. No, actually, there's just a few. But this film is totally different. You know, the director takes this and the script takes it in some places that you do not expect for this to go and things to happen. But speaking about Rey, I want to talk about Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren was great in this, even better than he was in The Force Awakens. I think The Force Awakens did a good job setting him up. This does a good job getting into him even more. And you get to see some of his backstory. They do some flashbacks of what really happened between him and Luke and at Luke's academy. And it is interesting, very interesting to say the least. But everybody has their version of it. Kylo Ren saw the version from his perspective. Luke is telling his version from his perspective. And Rey has to figure out, like, what she believes. Like, was it really this way or was it really that way? And that's just really interesting. But Rey and Kylo have a connection in this film. And they spend a lot of time talking to each other through the Force. And you'll see how when you see the movie. But I think that was a good choice. It was a way of having them interact a lot before they get together on screen in the film. But once they do, oh, it's intense. And Kylo has grown attached to her. Whether it's like he just admires her, or he's looking for somebody to be a friend, his equal, or he's attracted to her. I guess we'll find out that later. You could find out that later. But one way or another, he really wanted her to join him on his journey, his quest throughout the rest of his life. You know what I mean? He even goes as far to ask her to join him, and he says, please. He doesn't say, you should, or this is what you should do, you feel it, so it's your feelings. He says, please. So he feels lonely. It's almost like he's a sense of like I have nobody. Well, that brings me to Snoke. I like everything dealing with Snoke. The way Snoke looked, you see him in person this time. It's not just a hologram. Snoke is very powerful. He demonstrated his abilities on Kylo. Also, on Rey, as you see in the trailer, you know, he's doing something to it. He had her levitated, but he was controlling Rey kind of like a puppet. I heard somebody say that in one of the reviews, and it's very much so. Rey tried to use her Force abilities against him at times, and he just showed how much more in tune with the dark side of the Force, or how powerful he really is. But there is a fight sequence with Rey and Kylo, and I'm not going to tell you if they fought each other, but it involves other people too. And this lightsaber fight sequence was phenomenal. I really, really like this. And I like the Red Guards. She fights the Red Guards, and all of them had like different type of weapons, but the weapons could compete with lightsabers. And it was fantastic. It was very stylistic. And it wasn't like so much the crazy style of lightsaber fighting you've seen in the prequels. But it was a balance in between that, like real sword fighting and what you've seen in the prequels, the lightsaber fighting. But I really enjoyed every action scene in this movie. Now, Princess Leia had a friend named Admiral, I think it was Hodu or whatever, and she makes this sacrifice out in space against the First Order Dreadnought. And she uses hyperspace when she does this with the ship that she's on. And it is one of the most stunning scenes in the entire film. And it just, all the sound goes away while it happens for a while. And the whole theater is just like, first everybody gasps. And then we're all just talking because there's still no sound. And you're seeing everything that's happening. And it was fantastic. That scene was memorable. Very memorable. But this whole movie is, I'm going to just throw this out there. This is a spoiler, a hard one. Yoda shows up in this as a Force ghost. But not only does he show up, he interacts with Luke physically. And he even interacts with the surrounding environments. He summons a bolt of lightning with his Force abilities. Now, if you're a Force ghost, you're a part of the Force. And the Force is all the energy in the universe that binds all things. So it's energy. So for them to be able to interact with things physically make sense. Just because you're a Force ghost doesn't mean you can't actually touch and interact with things. Because there's energy between everything. So it makes sense. And that brings up a question I can't wait to have answered in the next Star Wars movie, Episode 9. Because these Force ghosts, it seemed like they would almost be able to really take part in some action. The fight against the Resistance. You know what I mean? But Yoda was in this, and it makes sense because Frank Oz did the voice of Yoda. He's still alive, and he can still do the voice of Yoda. Obi-Wan Kenobi, not so much. The actor who played him passed a long time ago. So, not too long ago, but long enough ago. So, we couldn't see him as a Force ghost. But overall, I really enjoyed this film. My score, I probably would give it, this seems a little high, but I'm going to say 4 out of 5 stars. Because I could give it 4.5 out of 5. I could give it 5 out of 5 stars. But I'm not, because I think some of the things they did, they took a lot of risk. You know what I mean? And they did a lot of things, new, unexpected, surprising things. And that might not sit well with everybody. Because there's there's characters in this who do things. Like one of the things is Leia uses the Force in this, and when she does, it is fantastic. And it comes at a moment where you don't know what the heck is going on, and then you're like, oh my goodness, she used the Force and she got herself out of that situation. And I think that was interesting because we all wanted to know if Leia was ever going to use the Force or a lightsaber or something, if she ever was going to become a Jedi. So obviously she was practicing, or she's that in tune to the Force because she has that Skywalker blood. But I have to say a 4 out of 5 because I really enjoyed this film. It was something different. It was something new. But I don't think it's in my top 3 favorite Star Wars films. I really don't. But I really enjoyed it. It's not a bad movie at all. It's a really good movie. It's fun. It's funny at moments. And it's entertaining. It's surprising. And it's emotional too. I would have to say that. It's a very emotional film. If you're a fan of Luke Skywalker, you're going to love some stuff in this. And then there's some stuff that might not sit too well with you. If you're a fan of Leia, you're going to love some stuff. There's some stuff that might not sit too well with you. If you're a fan of Rey, Finn, Poe, you're going to love a lot in this movie. But the way Kylo, if you're a fan of Kylo, some things might not sit that well with you. Now, I spoke on Snoke, and I liked everything dealing with Snoke. There's some surprises with Snoke, and it might not sit that well with you because there's a lot of things. There were some answers in this. There were some answers. If you want to know who Rey's parents are, pay attention. They let you know about them. They really do. They're not that significant. Throw that out there. But they do let you know what Rey knows about her parents. You know what I mean? And somebody else finds out something, and they let her know. Pay attention. Because a lot of people, I've seen some reviews after I watched it this morning, and a lot of people were like, they never talked about her family. We still don't know where she come from. We know a little bit more. You didn't pay enough attention. Snoke, still some mystery with Snoke. So, like I said, some stuff probably won't sit well with people, but I enjoyed the film for the things that didn't sit well with me. If they were answered, I probably would give the film 4 out of 5 stars. But I'm going to give it, stick with it. I mean, 4.5 out of 5. But I'm going to stick with my 4.5. 4 out of 5 stars as my final verdict for my rating of the film. I really enjoyed it. Please go out and see it if you're a Star Wars fan. If you're not a Star Wars fan, go see it anyway. Because I think the way this movie goes, if you're not really that big of a Star Wars fan, whether you've seen The Force Awakens or not, I would recommend seeing The Force Awakens. This movie probably hits better with people who aren't hardcore fans of Star Wars. And people who are, maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. But you can't deny it's still a good film. There's a lot of stuff in this. And you got to pay attention because there's a lot of things in here that will let you know. Like later on, you're going to want to watch it again to see things. And you're going to be like, yep, Should have saw it the first time. Pay attention to this. Really pay attention. Rian Johnson is great at throwing things in there that you might be able to notice or you might not. But when you watch it the second time, you will notice and be like, you know what? That's pretty interesting. But I really enjoyed the film. Can't wait to see episode 9. J.J. Abrams coming back. I like the type of energy he gives to these movies. And after the way this one went, I'm dying to see what they got in store for us for 9. And, yeah, that's it. That's it. I didn't want to give away too much. I didn't want to talk about everything. Overall, I enjoyed the film, but it's very different. There's some new stuff in here, some surprising things. And that left me really, what I wrote on Twitter after I saw it, I wrote, The Last Jedi leaves me emotionally confused, but in a good way that movies should, because I will remember this movie forever. I'm never going to forget it. Some of the stuff in here I'm going to be talking about for years. And at the same time, it was very entertaining. So that's how I felt about the film. You know, that was my tweet after I saw the movie. I enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. Can't wait to see what they got next. Thanks for watching. This is a long review. I didn't want it to be this long, but it ended up being. It's Star Wars. You gotta talk about some stuff. And I didn't even talk about everything. Some people have hour-long reviews. I really didn't want to do that because it's just me. If I had somebody else doing a review with me that saw the movie too, maybe I would have done that. But it's just me, and I don't want to bore you too much. I wouldn't want too long anyway. Thanks for watching the video, especially if you watched it this far. Like the video if you like the video. Share it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, because more will come. See you next time.